Okay, welcome to my live stream. I'm Joshua Kemble, and today I'm going to be working on roughs for a graphic novel that is a co-creation between my sister and myself that we pitched my literary agent. We put together a packet, presentation packet for potential publishers, and then we were lucky enough to get a pretty decent, like early publishing deal for it. And now, so I've been kind of on these live streams. I usually work on comics while live streaming, and I'll work on graphic novels. I've been working on Two Stories Book 2, which is the sequel to a graphic novel that I released last year, and I have to put that on hold. But what I've been doing on these live streams is trying to crank out of many of those pages because I knew this was coming. So let me explain what's coming and what this is. So I'm on this live stream. I'm going to be working on hold on. So we did 3, 4, and 5. So I think we're going to be working on page 6. Probably we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping, and I got to keep my voice a little lower too because it's late at night. I don't want to wake a bunch of people up at my house. So again, if you're watching the stream and you're having trouble hearing my audio or anything like that, just let me know. Okay, let's get into it. So the book that I'm going to be working on, page 6 of, I think it's 6, is Not Death But Love, the strange supernatural story of Elizabeth Barrett Browning. And it is a historical fiction graphic novel. And so I am going forward with the aims of being as historically accurate as possible within the time constraints we have. The time constraints are I have to do 231 pages in about 365 days, which is kind of tight and interesting. The final style I'm a little encouraged by, thinking that I'll be able to hit this deadline because the roughs aren't like a huge step away from the final. But they are substantially different in the sense that when I get from the stage of rough to final, there's usually a lot more solid paying attention to like photo reference and stuff like that. So my figures and my drawings become just a like tad bit more accurate than just like this sort of rough, like almost like storyboard form that you're seeing. But the way I'm executing it is a little different than the way that I've executed comics in the past. So if you're familiar with my stuff and familiar with these streams, then don't worry, these aren't like to the level of like Two Stories pages, and they're with a different medium that allows for a quicker execution, but also gets that same kind of professional result that I think people know me for. If you are new to the stream and you don't know me, let me just first off, forgive me if you're already subscribed and you're already following. You know, at the beginning of these streams, I always have to hustle my wares and also let people know, like new people who might be joining or watching, who I am. So I'm Joshua Kemble. I've been a professional graphic designer and illustrator for over 15 years, and I've been a professional art director for this will be my 8th year doing that for a living. And when I'm not art directing or working on graphic designs and illustrations, or just hanging with my family and being hopefully a decent father and a decent husband, hopefully those are like ticked off the list. But I am working on these crazy graphic novels. And what graphic novels, you say? Well, let me tell you. First off, like my first comic book, Numb, is available. I haven't even mentioned this before in pitches, but I might as well. You can probably hunt that down because I think I have them for sale on like Etsy, and there's like a link on my website. So if you're curious to see like my first floppy, you can probably still order it. But that's not really what I usually push. Usually I push these. So I've got a book coming out this June from published by Graphic Mundi. And this is a slice of life graphic novel in the vein of Ghost World and Eternal Sunshine for the Spotless Mind. And this is a comic book that talks about these two roommates, and one is Jacob, who is dealing with questioning his faith because his father is dying of cancer. And his roommate, Sarah, is questioning some of her life choices because she's an atheist, and she has basically had a recent relationship breakup and is kind of trying to fill the void of that missing relationship by having a bunch of one-night stands. It's not quite working out. So both of them are kind of seeking purpose and meaning, and meanwhile also trying to push forward in their early 20s with finding their careers, like in the literary field, because they both have a shared love of literature. So as they're pushing forward and in these weird realms of change, they start having overlapping lives. They find connection, and they actually start having their dreams connect as well. So this is a book that's out from Graphic Mundi in June, and you should ask your local bookstore to order it. Yeah, so that's book one. Book two is and also I already mentioned the movies that it's like, I'm terrible at pitching, by the way, but I have to get these done at the very beginning before we get into the fun stuff, where I'm going to be drawing and hanging out with you guys and doing research and stuff for the book, Not Death But Love. Okay, before we can work on comics, let's talk about more comics. I have two stories. Book one, this is a hand-lettered, hand-inked graphic novel about my journey dealing with depression, about caregiving for somebody with panic disorder, and the complexities of how much like mental health issues can have like a cascading effect on the people around you. And also, it's a very vulnerable story, but it also has some more lighthearted elements that talk about growing up as a geek, the strangeness of attending a Christian school, some of the hypocrisy there, and the search for meaning and an eventual journey to faith that'll be continued in book two, which I'm like about 25 pages completed with. But you can order this fine book from Marcosia Enterprises on Amazon, and probably get free shipping, and it's probably available at a discounted rate there. You can also ask any fine independent bookstore near you to carry and stock this book. I've heard really good things from people who read it, and of course I feel proud of it. I made it. So those are my wares. Now we're going to get into the fun stuff. So far, we're a couple days into this. So I've been working on Two Stories book two, and then I had this kind of pending, like I knew that it was going to come down to about a year for me to put out these pages, but I was in this weird limbo stage where my sister and the editor were kind of revising the script, and I was just kind of waiting for that day that the script came in, and then a couple days ago the script came in. So now it's go time. So far on these streams, we have roughed out one page. That's going to be page 3. So it'll be located on the right side. We've roughed out the back of that. I'm just trying to kind of show the sequence so you guys can see a little bit of what I'm thinking here. So then you're like, that's what you'd see this is a rough of what you'd see when you open it. I feel like, man, the camera is really bad. I can just show the things. I just wanted to show why I print them out. So then you'll page turn, boom, and that's your first spread. Your first spread is going to be the kind of drowning sequence that we went over, and you guys saw digitally a lot clearer. And then again on the right page, we're going to have this sequence. So now we're going to flip the page. We're going to be working on the left page of the next spread. Verso, I believe, is what that is in book terminology or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up our fun screen where we get to draw together. Although let me make sure I have Okay. I'm going to make a copy because I realize I usually, before I get going on a page, I usually will save a blank one that already has the guides. I didn't do that this time, so what I'm going to do is copy page 4, and then we're going to open it up and delete everything out of it. But at least the guidelines will be that size. Like it's going to be an even page is always going to be on the left. Odd pages are always going to be on the right. So I'm trying to keep that in mind so I don't mess up my roughs, especially if I want to do a double page spread for something. Why am I talking about this without showing you guys? That would be a really good question. So let's get into it and show you the fun stuff. Okay. Ooh. Okay, we got to set up our thing here. There we go. Okay, so this is my copy of page 4 that I was talking about that now is going to be for page 6, right? Again, evens are always going to be on the same side. Odds are always going to be on the same side. I'm going to go ahead and delete all of this. I'm going to hit save. So I deleted everything that was on different layers. And now we're going to hit save. Curious how much of this you guys can see. Little worried you guys may not be able to see some of the things on here. So let me, first I want to expand the window. I'm not sure why it's being so wacky. So let's give this a shot again. Why are you being so strange, Photoshop? Why, oh why? And then I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get this layer to be somewhere visible for you guys. There we go. Okay. We're in pretty good shape. All right. So just to let you guys know the format, this right here is going to be the page that we collect all of our research. I'm going to do a quick thumbnail from the script. We're going to do a thumbnail there, and then from the thumbnail, we're going to make a rough after we've assembled whatever we have to research. We're going page by page through the script. So the script section that we're going to be doing is going to be listed down here. And yeah, that's basically all you need to know. I also will say I've been going pretty hard on this for the last few days, so I am going to be a little sleepy, but that is no excuse. It's just to let you know if I sound a little out of it, that would be the reason. I am a little out of it. All right, so page 6. Here we go. We've got page 6. This is going to be interesting. This has a giant caption with a huge chunk of type. I want to make sure we're on the right page here. Okay, our last page ended with clutching a letter in one hand. So now the first thing we're going to be doing here is we're going to be meeting Elizabeth Barrett Browning. And I'm going to do my thing where we make a list. I like to do this. Basically, this might help too if you guys have never broken a script down into comic format. This is how I do it. I don't know if there's like a magic bullet or perfect way to do it, but at least you can learn my method to doing it. And it might give you some insight into how you break down scripts or other people break down scripts for comic consumption or creation. Okay. So, number 1. What's our first thing? Oh my goodness. It would help if I don't do it in... Okay, let's try this again. Number 1. Okay, we have Elizabeth Barrett. So far we've had Elizabeth. Her brother Edward has just died at sea. That's the intro. As you see, Edward Barrett in the ocean on a yacht, like what we realized was like a racing yacht. We had to do some research to find that out. And then we see the yacht downed, and then we turn the page and we're introduced to what happened to Edward, her brother. We see him drowning. Like we're now seeing underwater as he's like swimming, gasping for air, and then he just dies underwater. We flip. Sorry. So that's going to be on the left side of the second page. You see, you're going to see on like the left side. On the right side, like across from that, is going to be our scene from Wimpole Street that we drew in the last stream, where we're going to see a Hanson cat or a. It's funny. I always want to say handsome cab, but I think it's Hanson cab or something. It's very close to handsome, but it's handsome, like HANSOM. But it sounds like handsome. Anyhow, whatever. A handsome cab. Okay, so sorry. Let me describe it. So I'm also trying to set the stage for my brain for like where we're at in the story. So we flash to a moonlit sky where it's just raining, and we're seeing Wimpole Street in Victorian England, and we see a man kind of lurking in the shadows, like under the eave of a neighboring building, looking across to 50 Wimpole Street, which let's remember what the actual address was: 50 Wimpole Street, London, 1846. And we see a caption that says that. We see that the man is holding a letter, and now we're on to this page. So that gives, I know it's like tedious to kind of go back through those, but again, like I want to know where I'm at in the script. So now we're going to make a list for like how many things, how many actions do we have to show here? Because I have to take this script and turn it into a comic. Elizabeth Barrett, 40, petite, her pale face shrouded in dark, heavy ringlets, reclines on a sofa. On a sofa. Man, I'm having trouble speaking today. What's a sofa? Reclines on a sofa covered in blankets. So we're gonna have Elizabeth. I'm gonna just call her EB here. EB. Reclining on sofa covered in blankets. And because this is historical fiction, I want you guys to understand what this means. I have to research. First, Elizabeth Barrett Browning, which I have some really good imagery of, but still it wouldn't hurt. On a sofa. Okay, what does a sofa look like in Victorian England in the Browning's residence? Do we know what that sofa looked like? Whew, now we got questions. And covered in blankets. These need to be blankets that existed in Victorian time. I don't know. If I do like a comforter from Target, it's going to pull people out. That's going to be panel 1. Panel 2 says her eyes are closed. Okay, so I don't think that's panel 2. I think that's just closed. She is so still, she could be a corpse laid out for viewing. I don't know how I'm supposed to show that. Because an image is still. Now I'm thinking, okay. Google time for that kind of detail. Exactly. We're going to get into it, but I want to list everything we have to Google. And I want to thumbnail it real quick. Thumbnail, like actual thumbnail. And then we'll rough from there, like once we have done all our research. This is going to be fun. But it's exciting. And by the way, Philip, welcome, dude. How you doing? I hope the kids' book's going well. All right. So here we go. Okay. So Elizabeth Barrett, 40, petite, her pale face shrouded in dark, heavy ringlets, eyes closed. I mean, that's gonna, if you see any images of Elizabeth Barrett Browning, her face is always shrouded in dark, heavy ringlets. But that's a good description. Reclines on a sofa, covered in blankets. Her eyes are closed. So I'm almost wondering, I mean, there's a couple ways we can go about this. But I'm going to think too, I'm going to actually make that second panel. We can consolidate that to a first panel, but it seems like EB eyes closed. It seems like that's just going to be a close-up of her eyes closed. Which again, that's good. Okay, she is so still, she could be a corpse laid out for viewing. 3, I don't know, repeat? Repeat 1? Okay, how do we show that she's still? Do you see that? Like, I know this is weird, but this is one of the conundrums of adapting text to comics. Like, how do I show still? So there's one way, like you show other things moving while something is still. So you could show a dog. I think they do have a dog, but I don't know. A dog, a bug. What else is going to move in a room? Can you guys think of something? So like what I'm saying is like if we're going to show this in like panel 1 and then we're going to repeat panel 1 to show stillness, the only way that's going to depict stillness is to show something moving, and that will accentuate the fact that she's not still. So I'd have to have like panel 1 have something in one place that in panel 2 is in another while she is not moving, and that will reinforce the idea of stillness. A dog, a bug, rain, maybe a window. I kind of like that idea, a window. The problem is I can't do a window. I was like, that would be perfect to do a window. A window where you see it's not raining and then you see that it's raining, except later in the script it's specifying that the curtains are drawn. So I'm like, could we show someone closing curtains? If she's resting position on a sofa with blankets, that might be enough. She's not exactly going anywhere. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So this right here is possible, but I might be being too literal. I think just resting. This might be like that. That's like a writer detail, and it's nice to have those, but it's useless. I mean, it's good for me to know like she's like really like passed out. Like she's like there's no muscle in her body like holding anything in her pose. It's just like punk. She's done. If she's got arms hanging like to her sides, like they're dangling, you know. She's like a corpse. But then again, she's still like a corpse. Okay. I'm going to cross this out. I'm going to think it needs to be like a corpse pose. Corpse-esque pose. Arms crossed. I'm going to put a question mark. Maybe a clock might indicate time passing too. Open palms. Ooh, I like that. Or we have 3 panel 1 with clock time. Okay. Possible. That's a give it or take it. We'll see how many panels we end up with, because again, we want to consolidate and keep as simple of paneling. Not simple, but like you don't want to overwhelm people with too many panels. I might be overthinking it though. So let's continue in the script and see if we're overthinking it. Her room is cozy, but crowded with a bed, a washstand. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we got, okay. So now we need to know, okay. Her room, I don't even know if this is going to be in the same. Okay. Again, okay. Now that I'm reading further, all of this is nonsense. Because this is going to be a big shot. Okay. 1, establishing shot. Room. It has a bed. That's something we have to research. Her room, like what did the room look like? EB, room. So what did Elizabeth Barrett's room look like? Do we have any? I don't know. If not, like we can speculate. But what did bedrooms look like? Her room is cozy. Bed, washstand. Bookshelves. Again, we're going to have to look up books with books. Oh my gosh. Guys seeing the historical fiction conundrums here? Okay, bookshelves and books. Books and busts. Of famous poets. Oh, that's too vague. Oh no. Who are these famous poets that she had busts of? Now we got to research that. Like, who were famous poets in Victorian England? And we got to be trying to make sure we don't include some that might have been found after the fact from pre-Victorian or Victorian era, or ones that weren't huge poets at the time Elizabeth was publishing. Because again, like she wouldn't have busts of these figures because they'd be culturally like current rather than like these legends. Whew, this is going to be, I thought this one might be easier, but the nice thing is most of this page is going to be that. I think it's going to be overhead. Right. So it's going to be an overhead shot of this room, busts of, and heavy drapes. Closed. We have to research that. Like, what did drapes look like at the time? And then we're going to have, okay, I'm going to smuggle all the stuff from up here. We need sofa. We need blankets. We need EB reclining, corpse pose. On sofa, and we need a blanket. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, probably way more than 14 because we got to look up multiple famous poets. So we got a lot of research to do, guys, just for one panel. But that's the exciting and fun thing here. Philip was asking, was this person wealthy or middle class? She was very wealthy. I mean, they had a 4-story flat in like a main street in London. Like the Barretts were like very, very wealthy. So there's going to be kind of wealth, because like half of the thing was Elizabeth was born into wealth with a name and kind of a title. Like she and then she went and married a poet of middle class means, which, to like the extremely wealthy, like middle class was like, he only owns 2 buildings or something. So, yeah. And I'm not sure. I think as the story goes, I might find out more about Elizabeth too, but I think her dad was like they were one of the names in England. Okay, so then we're going to have 2. Luckily, this does not require much research at all. EB eyes closed. I'm going to think this is going to be like overlaid. Main panel. Okay, and this might actually end up being panel 1. Luckily, again, I might need a little bit of Elizabeth Barrett. Notice her name is Elizabeth Barrett at this point, not Elizabeth Barrett Browning. Hint, hint. Okay. Then we're going to have Elizabeth. The caption is going to have a beautiful poem. And now she's going to be talking about something that alludes to her brother's death and kind of hints at some spiritualism stuff. So the caption, it's going to have a caption that's the thing. This caption's going to have to be over it. Caption of poem. It might even be like, we might have it like kind of fluidly running over this image of like Elizabeth. She's like kind of reclining in a couch. I'm guessing the couches are like more ornate then, but she's kind of there, and you're going to have like your bookshelves. Might even need to be a little more kind of crazy. It's got like, we know we have like these giant curtains that are going to be kind of cast. It's going to have like tons of bookshelves, like a wash thing, whatever. And then we're going to have like type that's like da, 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 da. And I'm guessing up top, it's going to have like eyes closed. I think that might actually be better to have kind of like almost like up there. And then right here, it's going to have like your pow, like big bold line. And then right here are going to be the eyes like open. I'm awake, right? That's probably our page. I'm totally just doodling it out, but it's like, that's probably what the page is going to look like. I'm going to just save that because that might actually be a decent crappy thumbnail to go from. So basically what I'm getting at is like, eyes closed for top panel, Elizabeth, and the whole environment from an overhead shot, probably a little further overhead. And then we're going to have the eyes open, right? Everything is going to be really frilly, giant paintings on the wall. Yeah, I mean, there's some specifics we got to nail first. But I agree, there's probably, I don't know if there's like going to be a lot of paintings. I think there's a ton of paintings that are going to be in like the stairwell and like the broader kind of area, but like in her own room, I think it sounds like she has mostly like famous poets and stuff like that. But we'll see. Again, we got to kind of look into it and research what that would look like. Elizabeth's eyes open. Okay, and so we're going to do this. B, open eyes. E, B. Okay, I think we've gotten valuable stuff. Okay. We got some valuable info here. That's stuff we have to research. I think I want a thumbnail. Well, no. Do we want a thumbnail tighter, or do we want to just accept that a thumbnail is a thumbnail, and then we can go from there. I think it'll be helpful to work it out a little bit more. What am I doing here? Okay, I was trying to do this, and I am glad we have this little list. Anything else I'm missing from that script that you guys would guess? It sounds to me like that's basically what we got to get. Okay, so now we're going to have the fun of researching, and I got to get that set up. And I'm actually pretty excited about that because I think that we're going to make a lot of progress. So I'm going to disappear for like 2 seconds before we get into it. Let me make sure the research thing's set up too. So let's find the first thing before I kind of go have a vape. Ooh, sorry for hitting that if that made a noise. I'm going to go do that, but in order to kind of figure out what exactly we have to research, I got to think about it for a second. And that will help me think more clearly. But I can at least start with just making sure we have our internet window working on OBS. So let's see here. I'm going to look up Elizabeth Barrett Browning. Or let's just look up Elizabeth Barrett. Okay, I think we've got some really good starting points here. Let's find window capture Elizabeth Barrett. Okay, let's see if that works. Hey, look at that. All right, so we're going to look at pictures of Elizabeth Barrett and compile some reference there. There's a lot of good reference. And in the meantime, I'm going to also make sure we've saved what we were at. And I will be right back, okay? So we have to look up our overhead, all of that. But it all starts with Elizabeth Barrett Browning. And then we'll try to see if we can find the room and all that fun stuff. Okay, I'll be right back. I like the idea of the giant paintings, though, Philip. I'm going to see if we can think of a way to kind of make that happen. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so we're thinking this is young Elizabeth. I actually kind of like this sculpture. I had not seen this, but I think that's a good start. I think that obviously we need some of the classics, but we need the younger Elizabeth right now because this is definitely going to be her. As a younger lady. Okay. I like this, these kind of fur coats that they had her wearing. I think are good. And I also think she's Yeah, that gives us an idea of the countenance. I've also drawn her for the pitch, so we'll obviously pull out that as like a reference for the character. So let's do that actually. Hold on real quick. We're going to turn this off. We've got 3 Elizabeths. I'm going to call this EB1. I'll call this EB2. I'm going to call this EB3. Okay. We also have our references that are here that are of the thing I already worked out a little bit, how I'm going to draw this character. Although when I was drawing her, she's a little older in these. But at least this will give us a rough idea of what she looks like. So here's one where she's wearing kind of the traditional thing that you see her in all the time. It's like this kind of weird dress with like a frilly collar. It's almost like a doily looking collar. But that's, I mean, it's very pretty. It's just of that time. It's definitely something that doesn't stand out as like a current fashion. I'm trying to see if there's other really good ones that I've drawn of her that might be helpful. There's number 2. These are the pitch pages, right? I'm going to kind of pop this in here. That's number 3. And then we're going to have number 4. And then we're going to have number 5. There's a 5-page pitch. This had a close-up of Elizabeth. Okay, so we have all that. Ba-da-da. So we have a rough idea of what we want Elizabeth in. Most high-class homes of that era had paintings like that all throughout the house. Yeah, for sure. And I think paintings will be involved. I'm not sure about the rooms. So here's the thing. That building has like a plaque to Elizabeth Barrett Browning in it. Did they preserve her room? Dude. Okay, this looks like the place from Florence. And Casa Guidi is a place that we're going to have eventually as a location. Oh man, thank goodness there's a lot of good reference of that. But we got to wonder, is that couch kind of the same? That's going to come into play later. Oh, you guys aren't seeing this. I'm sorry. Here, let me pull this up. Boom. Now you can see what I'm looking at. This is like the house, like one of the houses in like Florence that the Brownings lived in. And I am now looking at a sofa that looks pretty darn close to like something we could use. So let me shrink that down so you guys can kind of see it, and I'll pop that up so we're not seeing too many windows. So Casa Guidi is a good starting point though, because that at least gets us in the time period, you know. So here's Robert and Elizabeth Barrett Browning's apartment they rented, Piazza Guidi, near the Pitti Palace in Florence. So we're going to do this. I'm going to call this Casa. I think one of the potential names of this was going to be Casa Guidi. I'm sure I'm pronouncing wrong. We're going to think of like I do like this. Do you see this sofa though? There's a sofa here. And that might be a good window. Like we're hoping for like at least I'm hoping for like a sofa. Maybe I'm hopping ahead. Okay. I might be hopping ahead. Hold on. Okay. We need her room. Like I need to see if there's reference because Casa Guidi has tons of references, which is great to see. And that makes me really excited about when we get to that section because that tells me that research is going to be relatively not crazy to find. Elizabeth Barrett's room. Let's see what this is. Elizabeth Barrett Browning room. I don't know. This is Madison bed and breakfast. This room hosts. Okay, I don't know what this is. Let's see what this says. I can't find it. It doesn't click to anything. Man, this is a very strange. Okay, this is a strange site. Unsecured site. So we have to find her to see. You know what? Let's go back to the script again and see if that'll give us some hints. So we're talking about 50 Wimpole Street. So I'm going to call this, I'm going to look up Elizabeth Barrett 50. So this is going to have this is an auctioned painting that was of the Barretts. Because this is a fun period of time. Like Robert is basically like really fond of Elizabeth and he's like sneaking in to meet with her secretly because her father doesn't approve. It's like a lot of people have written stories about the Barretts or the Brownings, sorry. Because they have this like sort of doomed romance sort of thing where her father was so upset with their relationship. So this is okay. Wimpole painting. Still doesn't get us where we need to be though. And I have a feeling I was hoping we'd get like roughs done today, but I have a feeling we're gonna just start to assemble the research today. Which is okay. That's actually fine. Like it's not undoable. Okay. I just want to know if you can go in. Let's just see 50 Wimpole Street. Interior. Images. Let's just see. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, this is definitely like the Barretts of Wimpole Street was like a play about the Brownings. But hey, you know what? It's a play, but it's still good to have as reference. So we're going to call this Barrett's play. And I will say that is a thing. That is a sofa. Barrett's of Wimpole Street. Ah, there's our sofa, our luxurious sofa. Now keep in mind, I don't know if these clothes are correct or period accurate. But there's a sofa. All right, let's see what we can find. See if we can find the interior. Inside the house that inspired My Fair Lady. I love the My Fair Lady mansion. It might have that kind of vibe. 50 Wimpole Street. Okay, let's just check this out. Wimpole Street. Poets Houses. That's an open one. It's another image, which is great. Emily was asleep with the pushchair when the train pulled into London. Okay, great. We're just doing some research here, guys. We're going to see if we can find the interior view. Here's the exterior. That's not helpful. "50 Wimpole Street." Interior. That's all I want. It'd be fun to like be able to go on a tour in like in 50 Wimpole Street. We do have the Barretts of Wimpole Street here. This is going to give us a rough idea. I mean, it's a very like exaggerated black and white version, but I might have to like watch this movie, kind of get a rough idea of like their abode, at least as depicted by this this movie. It's interesting. Let's just try this. Let's try the Barretts. I just hate like pulling from another interpretation of it. Like I'd like to see the actual thing. Maybe we'll get there. What is this, Sir Henry? See, that's 45 Wimpole. I don't want 45. I want 50. Is this kind of making sense though? Like why this is important? Because it's like, you know, they're like Barrett historians too that like will probably buy this book and read it, and it's like you want to be somewhat believable to like the period and like the locations and stuff like that. Okay, 50 Wimpole Street interior. Let's see what's in Wikimedia Commons. 50 Wimpole Street. I might have to watch that movie just to rough this page. Poets' houses. Befrois? I don't know what Befrois is, though. This could be a shady website. We'll see. Hey, this looks good. This looks promising. I thought it did. Elizabeth Barrett Browning returned to her family home on Wimpole Street just over a year after her brother died. Yep. Where she was being courted by Robert. That's where we're kind of meeting her. But I want to see the street. I want to... You know what? Let's look on YouTube. We're streaming on YouTube. But let's see if we can find, let's see, 50 Wimpole Street tour. Interesting. So there's all these productions of the Barretts of Wimpole Street. But I want to see... There's a 1956 trailer. We might have to kind of watch that. But I was hoping there would be like a newer... I'm kind of hoping that there... I don't want to see a hair transplant. Jeez. YouTube, come on, do better. Robert and Elizabeth. It's another... That's crazy. Okay, so we are not going to find... We're not going to find Wimpole Street. Let's see. I mean, can we find... Let's just try 50 Wimpole Street. Let's see what happens there instead of tour. James's life-transforming hair transplant. What is it about Wimpole Street and hair transplants? Do you guys know? Holy moly. So Paul McCartney lived on 57 Wimpole Street. That's nice. It's a fascinating thing, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. Darn it. I have no idea. We're going to close this out and we're going to look for 50. Jeez. Really trying here, guys. I want to do... $50. Oh, Philip was saying, I've heard the name before, but I don't know anything about them. Are you talking about the Brownings? You probably are familiar with Elizabeth more than Robert at this point. You've probably heard the poem like, How Do I Love Thee? Let Me Count the Ways. It's been parodied like a million times. That is Elizabeth Browning. If you're studying like English poetry, she's like up there as like one of the most renowned poets ever. And then her husband, Robert, is like also just one of the best poets. Or I shouldn't say best because that's like a subjective judgment. One of the most known, like famous poets of like Victorian era England poets. But it's in poetry, right? Let's see here. 50. Can I tour? I'm wondering if there's like a touristy thing, where they'd show like, hey, what's this? Pinterest. That's not Elizabeth. What is this? This is definitely not Elizabeth. This is like a all right, that's definitely a different Elizabeth. That was like a very strange version. Poetess. So there's a very beautiful let me see this again. There's a very beautiful like plaque on the wall. I like this. I think I have this image, but it won't hurt to have another one. So I'm going to call that EB. Oh, man. This is going to be a long night. And I got to call it at 2. Oh, Philip was saying, oh, okay, right. I know who this is now. Yeah. So it's about the Barretts, and they had kind of a, again, like, see, this is the famous thing. They've done like plays about them and stuff. The cool thing about this book that is it is talking about something that's a less written about phenomenon that like again, like a lot of people have written stories about them, but like they have never documented like this, and it's all there in the record. So it's a pretty exciting thing we're working on. But I'm trying to see, okay, so I might have to, this is craziness, but I might have to like I don't know if I can live stream while watching a movie. And if the downside is I really don't want to The Barretts of Wimpole Street was a Broadway production about the Barretts. That's probably like the most known version about their doomed romance, except it wasn't really doomed. The most famous resident was the poet who lived in 50 rooms. Well, okay, if that's the most famous person, there's got to be. There has to be. Like there has to be an idea of like what the interior looked like. And this might be just one of those things where I just have to do some massive things to do in London. Maybe this has a tour. Come on. Rock and roll. Yeah, that's great. Let's do literary. Yeah. I'm just trying to like find. I'm hoping to find like actual inside. Let's try that. Interior didn't work. English heritage, I looked at that. We looked at that. Hidden London. Let's see what this is. Wimpole Street, Westminster. And no. That's the door. We've found plenty of beautiful images of the door. Maybe we can get that door again. That doesn't look accurate to the door that I've seen. Did the door look different then? Oh boy. I know this is thrilling. So we haven't, oh my gosh, we haven't brushed the surface of this. Just to get the thumbnail, we're gonna have to go pretty deep, because clearly this is a fairly known phenomenon. And right now we have this as the exterior, which I thought might be authentic, because that's pretty cool. But I'm like, okay. I mean, it has like multiple things, like Elizabeth Barrett Browning lived in the house on the site. Then I want to know, like, what are those images like? Is this a museum? This is not the entrance to the Heart Hospital, and it has a warning for CTV. So, but it is a historic street. You got to wonder, do they have tours of it? Did that area like get kind of shady or something throughout the years? It's a whole thing that I'm curious. From the northeast. Were we looking at it from the wrong side? Oh, let's not do that. Okay. Basil Rathbone was in the old one. And he played, I believe, Robert Browning. Basil Rathbone, who also played Sherlock Holmes. He's the reason that everybody thinks Sherlock Holmes was always wearing a hunting cap. All right. You know what? We might have to just do, because I'm so far, man, I'm hitting a brick wall on the We have our chronology. That's good. Restaurant. Okay. Okay, this is all good stuff, but Elizabeth Barrett's bed sitting room at 50 Wimpole Street, London. I mean, I might have to just go with like what they had in the Barretts of Wimpole Street because it looks like that's I might be crap out of luck otherwise. I don't want to give in or throw in the towel, but it's like this book's done. This book has like a deadline, and it's like I don't know if I can go down like a rabbit hole for like. I mean, we've been at this for. We haven't even found the couch yet, right? I'm just trying to find if there's images of that location, and now it's looking like I'm going to have to piece it together, which again is cool. Although if there was a giant Hollywood production that sort of pieced it together already, I should at least watch the Barretts of Wimpole Street, which I kind of probably should have known I would have to do is watch other media. I'm just trying to kind of keep a lot of that away, so it's our singular vision, and it's not like super influenced by popular culture around the time, you know. I mean, this is great. This has all the Browning's correspondence. That's a thing that's really cool. That like didn't exist when my sister was first writing this script, so that's very cool. But I hate to say it, I might have to like. I mean, I don't hate to say it. I'm just saying like I might actually have to like just watch a movie, which feels like it's not working. But I feel like I might have to watch a movie, take some screenshots, and then from there, like see if that's matching a little bit of like what is being described here. Wow. Okay. I hate to do this. I really was hoping to like finish the research, but it's looking like I'm gonna need to watch the Barretts of Wimpole Street. and my heart out is at like 2. So I want to do these streams as I'm doing the process, but I don't think it's right. Like I don't mind kind of sharing when I'm like going through like a research Google search. We found some interesting stuff so far. But I don't think we're even close to being able to do thumbnails until I can like see the room, or in this case at least see if like is this script's depiction kind of matching a little more of that Hollywood setting. So I think I'm gonna have to watch the Barretts of Wimpole Street to at least rule that out. If that's not the case, and if that is the case, maybe we can take that and make it a little more period accurate if there's problems with the period in it. I think that's about it. So I think I'm gonna. I hate to do this on the stream, but because I was hoping to like get into like roughs and stuff like that. I was imagining that this would be research live, but I'm thinking I'm gonna have to watch that movie. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll say I'll come back and do a stream probably tomorrow. I'm guessing well, maybe the movie's not 2 hours. I don't know how long the movie is. So I'm going to watch that film um and call it a night. After I've watched that film, but I'm going to probably have to watch it from here so that I can take screenshots and stuff of it. if I can find it. So I'm sure I can, because it sounds like it's like a classic movie, and it looks like there's two versions. There's like Basil Rathbone, and there's one from the 50s. So like 30s and I don't know. All right, guys. Historical fiction, fun times. That's basically it. I will recap and let you guys know what I find out. And if you want to have like a little fun project, maybe watch the movie too. So I'm gonna go watch The Barretts of Wimpole Street. If you guys want to support what I'm doing, make sure you pre-order Jacob's Apartment, and also you have bought 2 stories from Amazon. Jacob's Apartment, ask your local bookstore to carry it. And I appreciate you guys watching these streams. I hope that was somewhat interesting. I don't think I'm going too far with the research on this, because I think that we've gotten as far as we can without kind of like at least ruling out that movie. Because if that movie shows a lot of good interiors that can be worked from, and we don't have access to the interiors outside of that, I mean, that's going to be kind of what we have to do. But if the movie doesn't kind of match the description of the interiors, then we've ruled out the movie, and then we just have to piece together the room, just kind of imagining what it looks like on the inside of that building, which again I can do, but obviously if there's existing reference out there, that could approximate it, better yet. So all right, so that'll do it. I'll see you guys on the next live stream. I hate to cut it short, but I literally have to watch a movie for my job. But that's also one of the fun things about this job, is you literally, you never know where this rabbit hole will lead. So all right, guys, we've broken down the script. We've sort of done a where did I put that thumbnail? Oh no, did I delete the thumbnail? Oh, no, we didn't. Okay. We have a really rough thumbnail of like what we're going to have it look like. I know that's not a ton. That doesn't look like a ton, but we've done a lot of the deep thinking about what the page needs. And now it's a matter of just kind of finding, does that movie have it? And then Philip was saying, hey, enjoy the flick. I'll be interested in seeing what you get from it. Yeah, it would be hilarious if like all of the research I've done so far is just totally alluded to in the movie. I doubt it, because this is taking an angle that's a little different, but who flipping knows? All right. Have a good night. I will see you guys on the next live stream. And yeah, if you guys are bored or like want something in the background while you're working, why not put on the Barretts of Wimpole Street and see what we find out together? All right, guys, have a good night. And I will see you on the next stream. Bye.